Never, ever, ever look directly at the sun. Trust me, it's a bad idea. You don't want to end up how I turned out. Look how I turned out. Burnt face, goggles, everything. The whole deal. Oh, and by the way, have fun with your sunscope. Whoa, yeesh, how did I get up here? Well, anyway, hi, I'm Loudon Kent. I'm 10 years old, and today I'm going to show you how to make a simple sunscope so that you can safely view the sun and not burn your eyes and become blind. Ain't that amazing? Just don't look at the sun like behind me. A sunscope is most useful when trying to view a solar eclipse, but you can use it on any sunny day to see the sun. It works by projecting an image of the sun on a poster board, very much like a pinhole camera. In fact, it works on the same principle as professional solar observatories, such as those at Kitt Peak in Arizona. Ours is much smaller. Woo! It's getting hot in here. You think we should go away from the sun? I think so too. Let's try going that way. Whoa! Jeez. I hope I don't get any surprise visitors.
Well, that sounds cool, but how do you make one?
A sunscope is very easy to make by using materials around your house that are probably already there. Let's start by listing the materials you will need. For more information, visit my grandpa's website at getoddnews.com, which has links for more information. First thing you need is a long hollow tube. You can use anything hollow, even an old shoebox, as long as it is sealed so that no light leaks through. A good place to find a good tube is at a carpet or flooring store. Here's a picture of my grandpa with the tube we used. As you can see, it is very long and will have to be made shorter. The tube should be about 4 to 6 inches in diameter. As you can see, the size isn't critical. One good thing about this project is that you can make a lot of mistakes and the scope will still work.
Well, we got the tube. What else do we need?
You will need a very sharp knife that can be used to cut the tube. You should have an adult do this, or you should have an adult help you do this. Just make sure you don't cut yourself. Ow. You will also need a can of black spray paint. Important, make sure that the paint is flat, not glossy. The purpose of the paint is to make it so there's no reflections of the sun that may make it hard to see the sun's image. You'll need a small piece of white poster board so you can see the image of the sun. You will also need some scissors to cut the poster board and aluminum foil. The scissors, make sure they're not too sharp, but not just bad. You will need a box cutter to cut a hole in the center of your poster board circle. You will also need some ordinary aluminum foil to make the pinhole. You will need a small needle or pin in order to poke a small round hole in the aluminum foil. I used a needle for that. Finally, you'll need some tape to hold everything together. You can use any kind of tape, such as masking tape, as long as it's not clear. The tape has to prevent any light from leaking into the tube. I used some multicolored, cool-looking duct tape for that.
Now we have all the materials. How do we make one?
Want your tube to be 2 or 4 feet long. Make the ends as straight as you can. Caution, for safety reasons, an adult should do this step. No excuses. The length isn't important. A longer tube shows a bigger image of the sun, but is harder to handle. A shorter tube shows a smaller image, but it's easier to handle. I helped make a tube for my little brother. It was about 2 feet long. I also made a tube that was 3 feet long for me. I'll probably use a 6 to 8 foot long tube when I make one for my dad, which is he's a really big guy. The ends of the tube need to be straight. If they are at an angle, they will need to be trimmed using a knife. Caution, for safety reasons, an adult should do this part. At one end of the tube, cut out a small notch at the viewing port. This should be about 3 inches tall and no more than about 1/3 around the tube. Caution, for safety reasons, an adult should cut out that part for this step. Next, take a piece of white poster board. Stand up the end of the tube without the viewing port on the poster board and trace out a circle. Don't worry if your circles are not perfectly round. They can be a little larger than the tube, but should not be smaller. You need 2 of these poster board circles, one for each end of the tube. Next, you need to paint and decorate your tube. Before doing this, be sure to put some old clothes and get some rubber gloves because painting can get messy. Don't want your mom and dad yelling at you when you have a school day the next day. Next, you have to paint the inside of the tube at each end using the flat back black paint. You should paint at least 3 to 4 inches of the inside of the tube. Don't worry if you get some paint on the outside of the tube, as it will not affect the sunscope. In fact, you can spray any type of decoration on the outside. You can also use stickers, paint, and maybe even some glued-on parts from a magazine. When done, set the tube aside until the paint has dried. While the paint in the tube is drying, you can cut out the poster board circles that you traced earlier. Don't worry if the circles are not perfect. They can be a little big, but should not be smaller than the tube. When finished, you should have 2 poster board circles cut out. Take one of the circles and cut a hole in the middle about 1/2 inch big. Use a sharp blade or a box cutter. If you are cutting on a table, put a piece of thick cardboard underneath to protect the table. Have an adult supervise you or cut it for you. The hole can be any shape you want. I made mine square because it was easier. Next, you need to cut a piece of aluminum foil about 3 times the size of the hole in your poster board circle. Take your scissors and trace an outline. Then use the scissors to cut it out. Make sure the foil remains smooth and not wrinkled. You use your fingers to smooth out the foil piece when you are done. I cut 2 pieces out, one for me and one for my little itty bitty brother. Now take the aluminum foil you just cut out and place it on some cardboard. Take a small needle or pin and poke it in a small round hole in the middle. Use your finger to smooth the foil around the hole on both sides. You want to make sure the hole is nice and round, so hold it up to light and see and test it and look in there. If you mess up and it doesn't work out, just redo it and it's okay. Next, place the foil with the round hole over the poster board circle, which has the hole you cut out earlier. Try to put the hole in the foil in the middle of the hole in the poster board circle. Tape the foil tightly into place on all four sides, making sure that you tape all edges of the aluminum foil so that no light can leak through. When done, you should have two poster board circles. One should be solid and the other will have the aluminum foil with the pinhole.
That's a lot of pieces. What do we do now?
It's time now for the final assembly. After the paint on the tube has dried, place the poster board circle with the aluminum foil over the end of the tube, which does not have the viewing port. Tape it into place. Make sure you tape all the edges so that no light leaks through. Check that you can see the pinhole through the tube by pointing it at some light. You should be able to see a small hole at the other end of the tube. Warning, do not look through the pinhole. Never, never, never done with the pinhole. Even sunlight through the pinhole will permanently damage your eyes. Remember, just because your eyes don't hurt doesn't mean there's no damage. Turn the tube over, being careful not to damage aluminum foil. And place the solid poster board circle over the end of the tube with the viewing port. Tape it into place. Make sure you tape all the edges so that no light leaks through at all.
How do you use it then?
Well, since we're all done, the sunscope will only work on a sunny day, and it will only show an image of the sun, nothing else. On a sunny day, take the sunscope outside and point it at the foiled end at the sun. Be sure never to look directly at the sun. Many people stand with their back to the sun so they cannot see the sun directly. So let's see. If I do it like this, I should be able to see. There's the sun. You can use the sunscope on any sunny day, but a really good time is to watch a solar eclipse safely. The coolest eclipse is a total eclipse of the sun, when the moon blocks the sun's light and the sky goes dark as night. Here's a picture of the total solar eclipse. You can still see some light around the sun. Do not look directly at this. Your eyes can still go blind. For more information on using your sunscope and for some science projects, go to my grandpa's website, getoddnews.com.
Pizza delivery for Bobby Joe.
What? Tube is at a carpet or flooring store. Here's a picture of my grandpa with the tube we used. I think we got an afternoon guest.
Peace.